dragon claw, wing and scale. Come now, let's examine a tale of the greatest beast ever considered. Another episode of Big Flying Lizards.
Welcome to Big Flying Lizards, a dragon movie and television podcast. I am your host, Bryce Wilson. Today, I have a phenomenal guest. I have a spectacular guest. I have brought on Lady Façade.
Oh my god, hello.
Hello, Façade. Façade is an artist who steps straight out of the high fashion fantasy and brings unforgettable main character energy to everything she does. She is a chameleon of the drag scene, consistently redefining her aesthetic for gothic villain to space cowgirl. We are so thrilled to have her. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh my god, thank you. That was amazing. I love that.
Well,
I need you to send me that. I gotta put that in like my bio or something.
Hey, I will send it over. We'll get it all cleaned up so it's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Before we dive into the movie, Façade, I'd love for the audience and for myself to get to know a little bit about you before. So are you from Utah originally?
Yeah. Born and raised in Utah. I've lived downtown in Salt Lake City for almost a decade now. And the majority of the time that I've been down here, I have been doing drag and being out in the scene and performing and dressing up and, doing all the things. But yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
I know Salt Lake specifically is more of an ally city and a very friendly city, but what is it like doing drag in Utah, where Utah is not exactly known for being the most sane of states?
I mean, I think being like downtown in Salt Lake, it's fine. I mean, every once in a while I'll get like a little scary comment here and there. Just it comes with the culture. I'm used to walking outside and getting comments regardless, whether it's like a cat call or something that's derogatory or something that is like absolutely fabulous and people are like living. So like I'm used to getting, attention when I dress out. I want attention when I dress out or when I dress up and go out. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I think that happens in every, city, no matter where you are. Yeah. In Utah, especially downtown, I don't know. I think it's fine. There's a good healthy balance of good energy and bad energy, and I kind of like it.
I think so. I know you've met my sister, and I mean, Salt Lake was initially not really where she wanted to end up because she grew up in Utah County, and Utah County is very different from Salt Lake.
Like if I was doing drag in Utah County, I would hate it. I would hate my life. I would hate it.
But I've talked to people that say even if you like look at New York, if you look at Seattle, like obviously they have different environments, but I think Salt Lake, and again, I grew up Mormon, I grew up LDS, so
me too.
I think that what happens is a lot of us that decide to leave the church, like we break bad and we just go to the full other end of the spectrum.
The counterculture is really, really strong because we were raised so, sheltered that we were like, give me the opposite of that. And so I think that's why like the drag scene here is really, really fierce. I think just like counterculture scene is so strong. It's not like the biggest in like the nation, but the like scene that we do have is like a group of really rough and tough girls.
But one thing before we get into the film I wanted to discuss is there was this vendor at FanX, which FanX is going on this weekend.
Yes, that's where I'm headed right after this.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And there was this guy who had all these cryptids as banners, and they had like descriptives as if it was like a military, this is seen in X War that has this attack. And they're all like very demonic looking.
Yeah.
And he
love it.
He was like, I was so scared coming here because I was scared all the Mormons wouldn't like it. I'm like, trust me, buddy, like you're gonna
love it. Yeah.
But do you want to talk about what movie we're doing today?
Yes. Oh my god, this movie is one of my favorite worst movies in the world. I originally watched it so long ago. I mean, well, we are watching Sucker Punch.
We are sucking
Water Punch. We're watching Sucker Punch. I fucking love this movie, but it is like kind of a bad film, and that's why I like it a lot, because they just really just go full tilt on everything. Every single aspect of this movie is just like dialed all the way up, which makes it like cringy but like amazing and like so just over the top and like weird and fantastic. And I like the amount of effort that they put into it.
There's so many things behind the scenes that I love about this film, but if it's all right with you, I'd love to introduce this film proper real quick. Alrighty. Sucker Punch is a 2011 American fantasy action film directed by Zack Snyder and co-written by Snyder and Steve Shabia. It is Snyder's first film based on an original concept. The film stars Emily Browning as Baby Doll, a young woman who is committed to a mental institution. As she collects items that she needs to escape, she enters a series of fantasy worlds where she and her fellow inmates are strong, experienced warriors. Abby Cornish, Jenna Malone, Vanessa Hudgens
From High School Musical.
from High School Musical,
Yes.
Jamie Chung, Carl Gennaro, and Oscar Isaac.
The cast is stacked. The cast
Insane.
is stacked.
Insane.
Yeah.
The film was released both in IMAX and conventional theaters in the
Mhm.
United States on March 25th, 2011. The film received generally negative reviews and underperformed at the box office, only grossing $89.8 million against its $75 to $82 million in production budget. Still, it made a profit.
A little bit. Yeah. Probably not what they wanted it to, but
No. Well,
yeah.
the funny thing first of all, I remember seeing this in theater. Well, I didn't go and see this in theaters,
Mhm.
but I remember seeing the promotional material for
Yeah.
it in theaters.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was debating what movie I wanted to take my high school girlfriend at the time
Mhm.
to, and it was either this or Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. I took her
Hugh Jackman.
I took her to Hugh Jackman,
Yeah.
and needless to say, I'm no longer dating her. So maybe
Yeah, should have taken her to Sucker Punch. Yeah.
This film was actually Snyder's film right after 300, which is
insane because 300 is a really iconic movie and was pretty well received, correct?
exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, they were actually laughing about it because 300 is almost 100% a male cast, with the
Yeah.
exception of Lena Headey, Game of Thrones, Cersei.
Yeah.
And this is quite the opposite,
Yeah.
where it's an almost all female
girls. Yeah.
cast. I mean, initial thoughts on I know you showed your hand a little bit, but
Yeah.
initial thoughts on the film in general.
I mean, the fact that it is still a Zack Snyder film and we're getting the same action sequences and we're still getting the same effects and we're getting his same sort of film style. It's still a superhero movie, I would say, but all of the superheroes are these cool, hot, sexy girls that I mean, I just resonate with that more and I love to see that more. If this was the exact same movie, but all of those main, 5 girls were men, I'd be like, don't care, don't want it. But the fact that they get to like wear these cool outfits and I love it. They're like, oh girls, it's amazing to me.
On the conversation that we have quite often on the podcast, and Rey in Star Wars is the best example, where she's
Mhm.
automatically the best at everything that she's doing.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything with her character.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of sexist people are like, oh, that's unrealistic. For me, I dislike it more because they're trying to emphasize her power rather than her character.
Yeah.
While in this show, their character almost is tied to their power
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more entertaining. I'm really sad that it didn't do better.
I mean, I think it makes sense that it didn't do good, just knowing the audience who typically will go to a Zack Snyder film. And I think that even the promotional material kind of painted the movie to look one way, and then the actual themes of the movie and what actually happens in the movie is a little like left field, and you're like, wait, what? Like, these are like themes that I wasn't expecting. I thought this was just going to be robots and dragons and zombies and like sexy girls, but then you have this power dynamic with like abuse mentally and physically, and these girls like dealing with like familial trauma and all of these things that I'm sure all of these teenage boys who are going to see the movie at the time were like, come on, like what the hell? What the fuck is this?
Let's get on to the dudes.
Yeah.
There's not enough
Yeah.
movies about dudes.
Yeah. But like, I even love so much that like the girls' names, their characters, they don't really have like actual names. Like,
Yeah.
our main character's name is Baby Doll, and then we have Rocket and Blondie and all of these names that I feel like would be used as like a catcall or something that's just a derogatory name that like someone would just call like a hot girl.
Yeah.
But like their names, and that's all we know them by. I don't know. I love that. I think that's fun.
I do think that, and I want to dive in, but I also want to comment real quick. I feel like this movie is the most Zack Snyder film of Zack Snyder's films.
Yes.
Like, it has all the explosions, it
Yeah.
has all the special effects,
Mhm.
but it also is just and I say this in the best way possible, it's weird. Like, it's just, it feels like a fever dream the entire time.
I was also so surprised to find out that like he wrote it as well. This movie looks like it should have been a comic book or should have been a video game that was then turned into a movie. And I feel like it like feels like that while you're watching it, that like it's very broken up into like, these different chapters and like these different like levels that you would play either as a game or you would read it in like a comic. That I was like, what is the source material for this? Finding out that it was just him writing it, I'm like, okay, work. Like I love that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting is I was getting a lot of Inception vibes from this.
Well, yes.
And Inception, the funny thing is like this, Inception was coming out in theaters a little less than a year before this came out in theaters.
Really?
So these ideas like must have been independent from each other. Yeah. So, I mean, I
didn't even think about that. But yeah, that is very true. This is like a dream that's in a dream that's in a dream that's in a dream. This movie is very that.
It's the anime version of Inception.
Yes, yeah. Which, like, sign me up. That sounds like so much fun to me. Yeah.
Now, a question I have for you about this film. If this film, obviously with upgraded special effects, came out today, do you think it'd do better or worse?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would like to say better.
Yeah.
Like if it was up to caliber as to what effects we're getting in movies right now. Because I think the effects are kind of fun and cool. I like that they're like a little like, I don't know, you can tell that she's just on a rope on a green screen, just like doing crazy flips.
I mean, they're not Pirates of the Caribbean, but they're still good.
Right. Yeah. But I think it would do better. I think that, I don't know, maybe there's more of an audience for it now, but whenever I show anyone this movie currently, I feel like they're like, what the hell? So I don't know. I couldn't even confidently say if it would do better or not. What do you think?
Well, I first have to ask, do you show these people that are already fans of anime, or are you just showing it like right out the gate?
I think I'm just showing it to them right out the gate.
That's the if I show it to my anime friends, I think they're like, oh my God, I love this. And to me, and this has been an ongoing conversation on the podcast, that yes, there's still a film industry in the US, but I really feel like Star Wars, Disney are killing it because people are like just wanting the rinse and repeat. They want nostalgia things. So when interesting new movies do come out, I get really excited. So if this were to come out and just feel so much like anime, which anime is blowing up in the US right now. I think it would do better because one, it's unique and interesting, and two, people love the weirdness of anime.
Yeah.
So that's my hot take. Is I think I'd agree. Do well. Do we want to dive into the film proper?
Oh wait, actually, before we dive in, I need to ask because there are 3 different versions of this movie. There's a theatrical release, and then there's an extended version, and then there is like a never before seen director's cut.
So I did see the theatrical cut because I was renting it, but I did want to see the extended director's cut. I think that's a good point because this movie was supposed to be R initially. It was not going to be PG-13. And you can tell that was going to be R throughout it. And I get why they decided, because if they did go R, this movie would have been in the red. There was no possibility that this movie would have made money. But at the same time, like, I just need to go back and watch. I'm assuming you've seen the extended.
Yes. Well, I only recently saw the extended when I rewatched it for this.
Okay.
Like my initial viewing of the movie was always the theatrical cut.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I want to rewatch it just to prep and make sure I had all my bearings and remembered what happened. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that there was like an extended version. I'm going to watch the extended version.
Well, if it's all right with you, I'd love it when we are discussing something where you just bring up like, hey, this was additional. Because I'm out of the loop on this.
I think there's like kind of 2 main things. One is in like Act 1 and one is in Act 3. So we can talk about them when we get there.
Perfect. Well, without further ado, we will jump into Chapter 1.
Okay.
The Descent into Fantasy. After her mother's death, a young woman is framed for her sister's murder by her stepfather, who has committed her to an insane asylum. To gain control of the inheritance, the stepfather bribes the orderly, Blue Jones, to have her lobotomized. Dr. Vera's signature is forged to authorize this procedure. To mentally escape the horror of the situation, the protagonist, now called Baby Doll, imagines the asylum as a grandiose brothel run by Blue. The other patients are her fellow dancers, and Dr. Gorski is a stern but caring dance instructor. Baby doll is told her virginity will be sold to a mysterious high roller who's the lobotomy surgeon. The first dance is so powerful that Baby doll does that triggers a deeper fantasy. She is transported into a Japan temple where a wise man gives her a mission. She must collect 5 items: a map, a knife, a key, and a mysterious 5th item to achieve freedom. Baby doll accepts the quest, returning to the brothel with new purpose and gathering allies. When they made the first jump from Asylum to brothel, I was so confused. I am not even gonna lie.
Wait, so was this your first time ever watching it?
I was a virgin before.
Yeah, that first like reality switch is like, okay, wait, what? Because she's like sitting in the chair and she's about to get lobotomized, and then all of a sudden there's a character swap, and now Sweet Pea is sitting in the chair, which is one of the dancers, another girl who's at the insane asylum. And now it's her like dressed up as Baby doll. And she was like, wait, what are we doing? Like, this is weird. We get like this weird montage. And then, like everything swaps. And now it's like a stage production.
Yeah.
So it's like no longer you're in an insane asylum. You're like working at a whorehouse.
And the funny thing is, like, I don't think they bring up theater ever again other than dancing for the rest of the film.
Well, actually, okay, so this may be, well, do we want to talk about like the beginning before of like,
yeah, let's go ahead.
So like she murders her sister because her stepdad is trying to like take all of their money.
Yeah.
Because their mother dies and leaves all of her things to them.
Yes.
And this like first act of the movie, in the extended version, we don't get a single word out of Baby doll until about 25 minutes into the movie, which I love. It's like montages, like it's like just her being sad and being like pushed around and other people talking to her. That I don't know, I think that was kind of cool that like maybe like 20 minutes in I was like, this bitch has not said a single word yet.
Yeah, they're really, like, I didn't even clock that in. That they're really establishing the world and the asylum around her before they actually establish the character, which it's just sort of interesting to be taken like they're establishing the insane asylum before they establish the insane person in general.
But it's weird to me because I'm like, at this point, do we think that she is insane, or do we think that this is just a coping mechanism for her to try to take herself out of the insane asylum, where she's like, okay, maybe I'm just dancing, but then that doesn't seem like a better place to be, like working at a whorehouse versus being in an insane asylum.
Here's the thing, like, and again, we can dive more into it at the end, but like virtually everything that happens in these like deeper visions happen in real life, where she helps the others escape.
Yeah.
She stabs Blue.
Yeah.
So yes, I think
all
is
these
like,
things are happening, but like, how are they like actually happening? What is actually real and what is just her vision or her just like altered reality that we're looking at?
Well, and how I interpret it as well is just, you can tell that this is, I don't even know what time period I'd necessarily say, but back when insane asylums were really propped up and they were using experimental drugs, and you can see that the cops like inject her up and she's heavily drugged up. So I almost wonder if it is like a mixture of like she's going through a psychosis experience, but it's not necessarily a psychosis where she's seeing things. It's just distorting reality.
Yeah. I like that also as well, that like at the beginning when they're basically the stepdad wants her to get this lobotomy because he was trying to, steal their money, and he was trying to like kill them or like do whatever. So he's like, okay, we need to do this lobotomy in order to like have her be numb and not be able to, like, the police are going to come and they're going to ask questions. We need her to be quiet. So that's what the lobotomy is. But then when we go into like this brothel scenario, it's no longer a lobotomy. She's getting sold to like the high roller, and the high roller is going to come and take her virginity. So like he's going to come and R-word her basically. And so he's like, I'm gonna make a ton of money off of this from the high roller. So there's this like, I feel like there's another like topic of discussion of like, oh, this lobotomy that's gonna like basically like paralyze her and make her like not be able to function, versus also like this Also, I don't know how old these girls are. Do we have any guesses or assumptions on how old she is?
So again, I don't know how true it is because obviously the stepfather was lying, but when he's filling out the paperwork, he writes 20 for her age.
Okay.
So supposedly she's 20.
Okay.
But again, I don't think they really go into that detail either.
Because he writes down a name for her as well, but we never know what that, like, I think there's like an initial and then her last name.
Yeah.
But we never get like an actual real first name for our main character. It's just always Baby Doll. And I think that's fierce. But okay, so there is a pretty long scene in this first act that is only in the extended cut.
I want to hear
it. And it's basically a musical number. We get an entire musical number from Madame Gorski and Blue, the club owner and the like dance instructor.
Okay.
So we get Oscar Isaac like singing and doing the splits and being like so musical theater and crazy, which is so fun. It's so camp and it's so over the top. It's like more montage, but just like way campier. So it's like lipstick is being applied and drinks are getting poured and they're on stage and they're dancing. And then this is the only time also in the movie where we get to see any of the girls actually do their numbers. So we get to see what Rocket's number looks like when she's on stage and she's performing. There's like an Egyptian themed one that I think like Vanessa Hudgens, who's Blondie, she's doing like an Egyptian number all in like montage form. Rocket is like a witch getting burned at the stake and there's like fire and backup dancers and like it's very like just showing the production of the club, which then they took it out, which makes sense because it did make the film, I feel like, seem way more like campy and like extravagant and not as dark. It was like kind of a silly thing. Blue was like doing the splits and like back handsprings on stage and like singing. I can't remember what song they're singing, but I think it's Love is the Drug is what the song is called. So they're doing a cover of some song and it is ridiculous. But I liked that in this one part, we get to see the girls doing their numbers. We get to see their costumes. We get to see them dance, which is, I don't know. I think it added to the movie, but also it makes sense that they should take it out because I could imagine a bunch of teenage boys watching that and being like, brother, like, oh, this sucks.
Bring out the robots.
Yeah, literally. They're like, is this a musical? Like, it literally makes it seem like the movie is going to be a musical, especially for that to happen in the very, like, first act. It's like, okay, I could see why they took it out. Me, as a little gay boy, I was like, yes, like, musical number. I love it.
Which I do want to, like, touch on that really quick because this film has been accused of being very misogynistic.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
like, I mean, maybe I'm just clearly so misogynistic and don't see it, but I don't necessarily feel that because to me, each time Baby Doll was about to do one of her dance performances, she would go into these epic adventures.
Yeah.
And rather, like, obviously they had like the sexualizing costumes, but they didn't they didn't show her dance once in the theatrical,
which I love. We still never see Baby Doll do her dance. We never see her routine. We never get to see her do any choreography or anything. All we see is her little, like, she does her like little sideways things and then she goes into a different world, which I think that that's such a fun thing because it really just like leaves it up to fantasy as we have no clue. Like we just assume that she's like this amazing, captivating, I don't know, she's like almost putting these people in like a trance of like anything can happen and they have no clue what's happening. She's like taking advantage of these men with her body, what they normally are trying to take advantage of her for. But now I feel like she's kind of taking the power back, using her body to take advantage of the men and steal stuff so she can get the fuck out of there.
Well, and like that's what's actually going on in this like brothel world, but we obviously get transported into the fantasy world where she is just kicking ass and taking names. Like that's, and I think that that's more empowering than anything else.
And this first like fantasy world that she goes into is my favorite out of all of them.
Okay,
fighting the like demon samurai to Army of Me by Bjork is in the snow in like a wintry Japan I love it so much. Like it's a Bjork music video, literally. The fact that one of the samurai has like a minigun and a bazooka is so fierce to me. And this is the first time that we get like a lot of action.
Yes.
So like I love also that at the very beginning of the fight, she's like, okay, oh my god, I don't know what to do. What's his name? Like the helper wise man.
I think they just call him the wise man.
Yeah, the wise man gives her a gun and a sword, and he's like, okay, these are your weapons. Now survive and fight. You need to find these things. Now go and do it. She's like, okay, holy shit. And then there's these gigantic demon samurai. And I love that the first one, there's like a solid like 3 minutes of him just like beating the shit out of her, like kicking her, and she goes like flying and is breaking walls, and it's like tearing up the floorboards, and she's just like getting her ass handed to her. And then she starts doing the fucking moves and like dancing around and kills them all, and it's so fierce to me. I love it.
Well, and to me, the way I was viewing it, and I don't know if this is what you were necessarily interpreting, but when Dr. Gorski was talking to Baby Doll before, she was like, hey, like, it's okay. Like, you're going to be awkward. This is your first time. So how I interpret that was like, okay, she is in her little awkward stage before where she's just sort of feeling it out. And then she gets the rhythm and starts kicking ass hardcore. And I also did like just lost it because at first it's just a rocket launcher just goes flying, and I'm like, what the fuck did this?
She ducks and the rocket goes over her head. Oh, also I feel like it's so classic to have big explosion in front of fierce diva that I tried to count how many times that kind of happens, and I think in this one scene we got it like 2 or 3 times. There's like the rocket launcher that happens, and then the building falls down behind her and she like serves to the camera, and then at the very end she like lands her final blow and stands up and like the guy falls behind her. That like, I love that. I was like, I wonder how many times in this movie we're gonna get like fierce diva posing with like something crazy happening in the background.
Well, because that happens several times during the like World War II like version, which we're not quite there yet, but I'm still excited to talk about that. I feel like it would just not be appropriate if I didn't talk. And maybe this says more about me than anything. But brothel version of Blue, Oscar Isaac, so hot.
I think so too. Yeah. He's got his like, he's all manicured. He's got a little foundation on. He's got a little guy liner on. When he does that musical number in the first act, I'm like, oh my God, like he's a theater nerd too. He can sing. Like, I love it. Yeah.
Well, because when we first meet him, he's sort of like,
he's grimy and nasty, which honestly, I mean, to me, Oscar Isaac is just a sexy man. I think he's just hot in general. So even the grimy version of him, I'm like, would hit. Same with Madame Gorski. She's hot.
I mean, everybody with the exception of the stepdad and the cook, like everybody's hot.
Yeah, everyone's hot. Yeah, which I love a cast full of gorgeous, gorgeous people.
We don't need those uggos in the film.
No. Every time that cook was on screen, I was like, get off, dude. Get off.
Stab him harder.
Yeah, literally.
I almost didn't recognize Oscar Isaac at first when we first saw him.
He's so little. He's so young.
No facial hair, because I mean, the last film that I saw him in was Dune, when he's playing the Duke, and like he has that full beard. He's just fantasy.
I forgot that he was in Dune. I was trying to think of what other things that like, because whenever I show this movie to someone, I feel like this first act, I'm like, watch this. I was like, oh, you're gonna see someone like Vanessa Hudgens is always a gag. Oscar Isaac is a gag. What is her name? Madame Gorski, who's in, I mean, she's like the mom from Spy Kids. She's in all the Fall of the House of Usher.
Carla Gorgina? I'm sure
Gorgina, yes, that's a good drag name. But like she's such a gag in it. Like there's a lot of like fierce. Oh, also, what's the name of the girl who plays Rocket? I love her. She's like one of my favorite characters. And right after this movie, she went on to do Hunger Games after, which was obviously like huge success. So I think doing this before is like, I just love the cast. I love all of these people.
Jenna Malone is who's listed.
Jenna Malone.
And she does, like, I was getting a lot of the same energy that she's giving off in this movie as she gave off in the Hunger Games films.
Yeah. A little unhinged, but like ready to take it on.
Unhinged, but you like it.
I do have one other like fun fact that I want to touch on that happens in this first section. The soundtrack to this movie, I think, is so good.
Amazing.
And a lot of the really sad songs that we hear, there's one that's called like Sing Me to Sleep. I think the very first, during our first like 15 minutes of the movie, when we're seeing like her with her sister and her stepdad, Emily Browning, like recorded covers of a bunch of these songs, and we're actually like listening to her voice throughout the movie, which I think is kind of cool.
Especially where we don't see her dance. I feel like that's almost like a perfect.
Yeah. We don't see her dance. And in this first act, remember, she doesn't talk for the first 25 minutes, but we do hear her, even if you don't know that it's her. She's singing these like really sad songs.
So is Sweet Pea the one who's doing like the monologue in the beginning?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet Pea is monologuing where she's talking about guardian angels and like not knowing where they come from and like, you know, all of that. I don't know what else she's talked about, but it is a really beautiful monologue, and it narrates that whole like first sad part of her backstory and then getting to Lennox house. So that is Sweet Pea, but we haven't met Sweet Pea yet. And then there's also, Baby Doll like singing these songs. And then it's funny, the first thing that Baby Doll says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's when she saves Rocket, because Rocket goes to the kitchen, tries to get that piece of chocolate, and then the cook comes in and he's this big nasty man and he slaps the shit out of her and then like starts to assault her, and Baby Doll comes in, grabs a knife, and she's like, "Get your hands off her, pig." And that is the first line that she says in the whole movie, and I think that's fierce.
I do, because it was just he is nasty, and I was like the actor's name, but bless his heart, Malcolm Scott, the actor of the cook, but at the same time, like he did just such a great job of being like disgusting.
Just the cook, just the big nasty pig cook.
We love our cook. We love our kitchen staff.
There is also one we meet the high roller,
yes,
/ the lobotomist doctor, and he is also like a pretty well-known actor as well, right?
Yes,
he was
Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men. I was like, what, like TV show? He's like the main character of some TV show, Mad Men.
Yes,
So I was like, there's another person. I feel like every time I watch the movie, I'm like, you're actually really famous too. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Jon Hamm.
Yes, Jon Hamm.
Who's so hot as well.
Yeah. When he's the high roller, he's a little too manicured for my taste.
Yes.
But when he's the doctor about to do the lobotomy, I'm like, perfect. I'd let him give me a lobotomy. I would let him give me a lobotomy.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Before, it looks like Nana is in the chat right now, and saying he would let Oscar Isaac do unspeakable things to him over here. So we
got Baby Doll in the chat.
And they're also saying that I need to wear this headpiece every day for the podcast.
Wait, can you show them what it was like supposed to like look like, but just not functional?
Yeah, I cannot see shit. Yeah. Funny enough, I wore this to the gala that was held at the building. Shout out to Edison House. And I crashed into so many walls and so many people that
but yeah, it's fierce as a headpiece, I think.
I think so. Yeah. I think it makes a great little hat.
Good headpiece. Makes a great hat.
But are we good to go into chapter 2?
I think so. Yeah, I think I got all my. Wait, so chapter 1 ends
right when she defeats the samurais.
Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty. Chapter 2, A Quest for Freedom. Baby Doll will perform dances as a distraction for Blue and the clients, while other girls use that as a cover to acquire items from the wise man's list. The map, the fire, and the knife. As Baby Doll dances, she fantasizes about World War I steampunk mission to steal the map from a Zeppelin. In reality, Sweet Pea uses the distraction to copy the map of the asylum's layout in Blue's office. During another dance, a fantasy shift into a medieval battle against orcs to retrieve a fire crystal. Simultaneously, Amber pickpockets a lighter from the mayor, an asylum trustee. The third dance fantasy is a sci-fi mission in a futuristic train to disarm a bomb. This parallel is Sweet Pea's dangerous task of stealing a knife from the asylum's cook. During the knife mission, Rocket is killed in this fantasy. R.I.P. This mirrors in reality where the cook catches them and stabs Rocket to death as she protects her sister, Sweet Pea. The plan begins to unravel with Rocket's death, and Blue discovers their schemes after overhearing Blondie. I think you already said that the samurai...
I love the demon samurai.
That's your favorite. So out of these three, which one would you say is your favorite then?
I really like... I think the last one, the like train ride with the robots, love it. I think that the ending of it is so sad, but I think that like the effects that we get in this one are like the most Zack Snyder effects. He's doing the like slow-mo, like camera pan, slow-mo, like something happens. Like it's very Snyder,
Yes.
and I like it a lot. Yeah. So maybe the last one, but I don't know. The dragon is really good too.
We do get a dragon in this fantasy scene because they have to cut the throat of the baby dragon to take the fire crystals out. I also really do love the World War One.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's straight up almost like Call of Duty Nazi zombies because they're the wise man's like, hey, they don't feel bad for killing these guys because they've discovered
they're already dead.
And so like they're just going in, just mowing down German soldiers.
This first like battle is them they're in this like beautiful castle that's completely, or not castle, maybe like chapel that's in ruins. I think that shot is like so pretty. And then they're fighting this zombie steampunk Nazi army.
They still have like the old rifles like this, but then they have the giant mech robot. They have like assault rifles that they're just going in, mowing down.
In this first one, I love that we get like a big role of Amber. Is she's kind of like the pilot, or she's like the one in the machine, so she gets this like giant mech that she can just fly around in and just like mow down everyone. And I love that. It looks like Diva from Overwatch. There's even like a big old bunny on the front of it that I'm like, that is Diva. She's Diva. It's fierce.
Well, not only that, I really like the fact that these missions are paralleling in so many different ways in the real world, because you're getting like, after she's doing that, she's getting a lot more of a sense of confidence. And she's showing that confidence in the brothel, which I assume she also shows in the asylum as well. So, and obviously like Baby Doll is getting more and more confident through this, and Sweet Pea is, I mean, even though she's going along and she's doing the best that she can, she still is also like,
she's the most hesitant out of the group. She's like, as soon as, I think at the beginning, she's like, as soon as I say we're done, we are done. Like if anything bad starts to happen, like, and I call it, we're calling quits. She's the most like protective and the most scared and apprehensive out of all of them.
Which, doesn't she say we're done like 3 times during the film?
there's one like big one where she's like, absolutely not, which happens, I think, like in between this one and the
sci-fi one, on the train.
Oh yeah, because the sci-fi one is it happens before the sci-fi one. So in between the dragon and the sci-fi is when Blue starts to be like, y'all are doing something, and she's like, okay, we can't do this anymore. Like we're done, right?
Yeah,
or am I wrong?
Because what Blue noticed that the lighter was stolen from the mayor.
Yeah.
And that's how he like came up to them and like started getting after them and like pretty much saying he's gonna kill them. And that's when Sweet Pea's like, okay, we're out. Like we're done. This is too much.
But yeah, Rocket's too tenacious. Rocket is like, we are finishing this.
Like, whether you'll like it or not.
Which I love about her. She's got such a can-do attitude. But yeah, this first one with, the like Nazi zombies, love it. I can't remember what song we're getting, but these are basically like little music videos. I feel like the soundtrack to them and like the way that they're mixing them together it really like, I feel like I can use my own brain to fantasize about what this production might look like on stage, like with this song and with like the vibe. But I feel like I could only do that like seeing that weird musical number that they had at the beginning of like having all of the stage performances and like all of the like lights and all the set design and everything. Imagine these things somehow also, what does this look like as a burlesque performer or like as like a stripper like number? That I think that's kind of fun to use your fantasy. But also I'm a drag queen, so I'm like, how could this be a number? That I'm like, okay, how could I turn the samurai ninja fight into a drag number? But I think that's just fun to kind of think about and just like try to assume what she's doing. Because also when Baby Doll is performing, I feel like at the beginning, she doesn't have a costume. She doesn't have a set yet. Like it's just her. So I'm like, okay, what is she doing on stage that is giving Nazi zombie World War II like steampunk war on the battlefield?
Exactly. So just on that note with her dancing, I love because it all starts to go wrong during the last mission when the cord like shorts out and that like everything like stops and he comes out of his trance.
It's the first time we like go back and it's like back into real life for a second,
and he realizes what happens, and then we get pulled back in, and that's where like everything's going wrong. And I really love that they use that visualization of
Me
like,
too.
again, maybe it's a little impractical of the cord like going.
Yeah, the water like slowly touching the cord, and they're like, oh, just like scoot it over, and then the music plays again.
But again, that's so Zack Snyder. Like,
Yeah, I did love that part so much. Like being pulled out and then going back in, I think was a fun example of like, okay, there is some sort of like, I don't know, hypnotization or something like going on, or something that's so captivating that like the music stops and you get like pulled out of it for a second and then you're like locked back in. I like it a lot. Yeah.
well, to me, that again just ties to the theory that they're putting these girls on a very specific, like not just hallucinogen
Yeah.
when they're in the asylum, because the music is almost a way for them to be hypnotized into going
Mhm.
into these deeper fantasy world.
Yeah.
Which almost begs the question: is like, is Dr.
Groski?
the hot doctor
Groski.
Grolski,
Yeah, she's Polish.
is Dr. Grolski like helping them in a way, like,
Yeah.
rather than like Blue, who's just trying to take advantage of them?
Yes. I feel like their kind of relationship, the Doctor and Blue, it's like, where, like, is she a bad guy? Is she a good guy? He's obviously a bad guy. But then I think we do get a point where he's like, because Dr. Groski is like, Baby Doll is not ready to perform yet. Like, no, we should not do this. And he gets, I can't remember if this is in the theatrical cut, but he kind of starts choking her and he's like, these girls are mine and you are mine.
That is.
Like, don't, and if you want me to remind you further, like, I will do it. Like, he's threatening these women with their lives. Like, he is fully like, I do not care about you. You belong to me and I will do whatever I want to do. And don't talk back to me again.
Which
Bitch.
again, like, I really want to know what this dynamic looks like in the actual asylum, because Blue is just an orderly in the
Mhm.
asylum, while Dr. Groski is a doctor.
Yeah, who's like signing the papers and everything.
And at the very end, I know we're jumping ahead here, but she's like shocked that her name is
Mhm.
like
Been forged.
been forged. So it does give the illusion of, okay, does Blue actually run the asylum himself?
Mhm.
And just Groski has the illusion that she's running the
I
asylum.
see. Yeah.
But again, like, that was just what I was thinking there, because like, obviously in the brothel, Blue is like, he's the pimp. He's the,
yeah.
He's Big Daddy. So
Yeah, he's the club manager.
and he runs it with an iron fist.
Yeah.
I did also really think Groski was showing that she cares about the girls when she was
Yes.
talking to Blondie, because Blondie was in there like freaking
Yeah.
out, and that's
Mhm.
how they ended up getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
But Groski
Blondie
was like,
spilled the fucking beans, girl.
never trust
Blondie.
Blondie.
Never trust a blonde. I also love that her name is Blondie and she always has black hair. Like,
I think
she is always in dark hair, but her name is Blondie.
Well,
I love that.
She's Asian, isn't she too? Like,
Vanessa? Well, no, that's Amber, which also I don't even think we've said Amber out loud yet.
Yeah.
Amber is like one of my favorite names in the entire world. I don't know why.
Really?
I've got a strong affinity towards Amber. I think that's such a cunty name. So the fact that we have an Amber in this film just is more brownie points to me. Something about Amber, like, she's fierce.
Amber is the white gloved version of Karen.
Yeah. Love Amber. Love Amber.
Okay, no, so I did switch it up. It was Blondie who was getting yelled at, but Amber
Yes.
is...
Amber's the one who like drives the mechs.
Yes.
Blondie is kind of just apprehensive. I sounded like Minnesota there for a second.
Well, isn't she the one who sort of looks like the new Wednesday?
Jenna Ortega?
Yes.
Hudgens and Jenna Ortega, you think are kind of similar?
I was getting the same vibes.
I could see it. Yeah. She's got the bang too. She's always got like a black bang. I think it's so funny to me, especially in the steampunk zombie thing. Vanessa Hudgens run around with a machine gun and like try to serve like action is so funny to me. Like, I laughed so hard because there's one scene, and also the extended cut I think gives just like a couple extra like little scenes in these action sequences. Nothing that like totally changes the plot or the story or anything, but it's like you'll get them walking and another explosion happens behind them, or you'll get Vanessa Hudgens just like gunning down zombies for like a minute and a half, which like I love to see it. I think it's so fierce.
I mean, that was my favorite part. As much as I loved the fantasy one, it wasn't fantasy enough for me, because the
fantasy one was very like on the nose, I think.
Yes.
Of like castle, orc, dragon.
And there wasn't like a big like where they're literally in the trenches killing Nazis over here.
Yeah.
They just seem to like parachute down into the castle. Everyone's already dead, and they just run over to the.
I do. Yeah, I wish that the like more fantasy, like Lord of the Rings kind of inspired world that they go to was a little bit better. But I mean, I love the dragon. I think it's fabulous.
Well, we'll talk about that later, but we'll put
put
another
a pin
pin
in
in
it.
that. But the orcs also look really good too.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually shocked how good the orcs were looking.
Yeah, I think it was great. The castle was beautiful. I like that the orcs all had like bow and arrows, like flaming bow and arrows, and then like, I don't know, you light a big rock on fire and throw it in the air. What's
The
that?
catapult.
Yeah, like catapults. I think that was fun. While they're like in an airplane, like circling the castle, or like they're in like a fighter. I mean, what are they even in? Like, what would you call that?
I think it's just a fighter jet. Yeah,
some sort of fighter jet thing with just like Vanessa,
which
gunning down orcs.
My favorite part is when the two orcs get catapulted onto the.
Yes.
And she shoots one of them, and he goes flying off through the propeller.
Yeah, and just like literally turns into like mist. It's just like disappears.
Like, oh shit!
Yeah, the amount of oh shits during this movie is so fierce. It's so funny. Shit, yeah. Like every other scene is a oh, shit. Like it's crazy.
Well, especially because they had just, and again, I understand it's a baby dragon. They slit the throat of the baby dragon. No blood. Like no blood.
No, not at all. They literally reach into the throat, which I also love. So in this mission, they're trying to get fire.
Yes.
So that's why they're going after the dragon. And I love the idea of like these crystals in the dragon's throat that they like hit together, and then it like creates this like beautiful flame. I thought that was a really, really fun thing. I loved that part of it.
I again am so excited to talk about it, but I'm going to hold myself.
Okay.
No. Is there anything else that we want to talk about before going into chapter 3?
I mean, noteworthy points at this point. Rocket sacrifices herself for Sweet Pea, and I don't know if we ever mentioned this, but they are sisters. And so now Sweet Pea is like, I'm only in this asylum because of Rocket, and now Rocket is dead. And when Rocket dies, it's kind of cool. She says, I have 2 things. She says, first, don't get mad about me doing this, and like presses her like jetpack, and then she gets jetpacked off and is safe. And then Rocket dies in this like fantasy world, and then we get back to the reality world, and she's alive again. And she's like, and the second thing is, when you go home, tell mom I love her. And it's like,
well, so did we find out why those 2 ended up in the asylum, or did that not really touch?
Yes, Rocket says that she like ran away, and Sweet Pea came after her to try to like help her or find her, and then they just kind of got into trouble. So they're there because of Rocket. Sweet Pea was always the like responsible older sister, and she had a good relationship with their parents, but Rocket didn't. She's the young rebellious one, and ran away, and she tried to go help her, and then they ended up at the insane asylum.
Gotcha. I think that just completely spaced on that part.
It could have been part of the extended thing too, that like conversation maybe was, I don't know, something else.
I'm also historically, when it comes to like shorter conversations, just
you're like,
who has time to listen?
We didn't need that.
But are we good to go into chapter 3?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Chapter 3, Sacrifice and the Truth. Blue confronts the girls, fatally shooting Amber and Blondie in shock.
Gag.
In ensuring struggle, Baby Doll stabs Blue with a kitchen knife and takes his master key, the 4th item. She starts a fire to create the final diversion. With her friend dead, Baby Doll has a moment of clarity. She realizes the 5th item is a deep sacrifice of her own life. She understands that this was never her story to finish, but Sweet Pea's. Her perfect victory is to ensure Sweet Pea's escape. Baby Doll creates a massive distraction, allowing Sweet Pea to flee. Baby Doll is captured and taken to the operating room, where the lobotomy is completed. In the aftermath, Dr. Grosky and the lobotomy surgeon discover Blue's forgery. The police arrive, interrupting Blue as he attempts to assault the now lobotomized Baby Doll. Blue is arrested and, in the moment of spite, implicates Baby Doll's stepfather. Sweet Pea successfully escapes, guided to a bus where the wise man, now a bus driver, is there to protect her. The film ends with Baby Doll having sacrificed her mind but achieved her victory, smiling in sincerity as justice is served. Sweet Pea is free, Baby Doll's stepfather exposed, and Blue faces justice, all brought with Baby Doll's ultimate sacrifice. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little sad at the end when
Gag. Yeah.
when the lobotomy still went through.
All the girls died and the lobotomy still happens after all that.
But
I
one gets
love
away.
it. Yeah, besides Sweet Pea, which honestly I love. At the very end of the film, now we get Baby Doll giving a monologue while we're getting this like montage of Sweet Pea escaping, and she's like, this was never my story, this was always your story.
Yeah.
So like secretly Sweet Pea was like our main character all along, which I like that concept of you like thinking who the main protagonist is, and then in the final act it's like, oh, now you're just another girl at the whorehouse, this is our main protagonist.
Well, I think it's so appropriate because in the beginning, as you mentioned, the monologue is about guardian angels. And so, and it's Sweet Pea talking, and Baby Doll is
the guardian angel coming to help her get out.
And then at the end, when Baby Doll is lobotomized but still speaking, Sweet Pea is getting out, and she's talking about how this was always meant to be. And I mean, bringing it all back to a guardian angel, isn't that the whole purpose? The guardian angel sacrificing themselves to watch over their little
Sweet Pea.
their little Sweet Pea. Now, is this movie considered to have a happy ending or not?
No. All of the hot girls die. All the hot girls die besides Sweet Pea, but she's probably at the bottom of the hot tier out of all of them.
But she's apparently the most talented, so
sure.
No,
But-
I was thinking, I don't want to say I was walking out of that disappointed, but I definitely was like, oh man, like, can we at least have the sisters escape together? Like,
well, so yeah, I mean, we finish Act 2 with Rocket sacrificing herself for her sister, and then like next scene we get Blue so angry, so pissed, shoots Amber in the skull, like out of nowhere in front of everyone. So then it's like chaos, and it's so sad, and he's like, I only did that because Blondie told me what your plan was. And he goes, Blondie, we don't like snitches, and shoots her too. So like, gag, a huge gag.
and again, like, this was what I was going to say earlier, and I don't know why. And again, maybe this shows how sick I am, but I laughed when he then after that was holding his like, I don't like guns, and he like,
yeah, literally, he's like, get this away from me, I don't want this.
It's like such a. I think it just shows again like Blue's character, because he's just as insane, and it's like it's the nut leading the nut house over there.
Yeah, crazy. And this is also where Baby Doll finally gets to put on her gorgeous outfit that she finishes the show in, which I am wearing a custom version of today. Thank you very much.
See it at FanX in a few hours.
Literally. But yeah, this final act is insane. I think it's so much movie to watch to get to this point. A lot of the times when I show people this movie, by this point, they're kind of like, okay, like it's been a lot of zombies. It's been a lot of action. It's been a lot of camera shaking and like almost like motion sickness at this point. And then it's just like more just psychotic things are happening.
Well, what I really love about it is when they're actually escaping, with the exception of the courtyard, it's the actual asylum. It's not the brothel.
Yeah, it's the Lennox house. Yeah.
And so but they're still in
their outfits.
And it just, I love that aspect where it's like, okay, where is reality and where is like fan, like they're starting to blend them all together. And it's sort of also like, there's a part of me that's also wondering like, okay, did those girls actually die, or did they get like locked up in solitary, or like something like, again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we don't know.
I watched like a lot of different people like give their commentary on what they like think this movie is like trying to say, and they're like, okay, the brothel is not real at all, and it's just like totally a figment of her imagination. Some people are like, no, this is an insane asylum on one half, and like the other half is a brothel, and they are actually having these girls like go and meet these people. I saw some person say that Baby Doll and Sweet Pea are actually like the same person, because like they both lose their little sister. They both like, when we like get that flip in the beginning of it being Baby Doll getting lobotomized and then it turns into Sweet Pea, like there's that like weird thing where they're doing that. So like there's a lot of weird interpretations of what any of this like actually means. I don't normally like to delve too deep in like what are the themes of the movie, and what was Zack Snyder really trying to say. I'm like, I think he was just trying to make like a fierce action movie with like hot girls and guns.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But on that note, I do actually, for me, I love it when the director doesn't spell out. Like, I know a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
people get frustrated because they were like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah.
Like, ironically enough, Inception. Like,
Yeah.
at the end, is he still in the dreamland?
Yeah.
Is he awake?
Yeah.
Does he get to see his family? We don't know.
Yeah. Form your own opinion about it and talk about it.
And that's where I really like about this, is because you can just go in so many directions, because like I like the idea of like this is all going on in her head, and she's like dealing with her trauma through also being put through all these drugs where she has to do it. But I also sort of like, maybe this is a front, like maybe this, because there's no regulations going on here.
Yeah.
If they're able to forge like a lobotomy, like they could probably pimp the girls out over there.
But then if it's not a front and this is just them being crazy, is the mayor coming to the insane asylum and taking advantage of these girls? Like, is that what we're thinking that it is, instead of like, why are all like the high roller coming? Like, what does that like interaction look like in the real world, you know?
So this is what I'm picking up. The not the high roller, but the mayor, he's the guy who, when they're going into, he has the lighter and he's like flicking it open and closing it.
Right.
He's right next to that gate. So like, I don't know if he's necessarily
He's
the
not
mayor.
actually the mayor. He's the
guy who controls the door, though.
Yeah.
But they still were able to like seduce him and steal the lighter from him.
There's also another, so this is like in Act 3, there's another pretty substantial scene that happens that is only in the extended cut.
Okay.
And we get it basically after Baby Doll gets captured, Sweet Pea escapes. Baby Doll is taken to this like room with the high roller. So we're getting the high roller versus the like lobotomy doctor. But we're still in the like burlesque like fantasy world of it all. We're in like the brothel, and she's in like the penthouse suite, and he's there, and he basically has this really, really long monologue where he's saying like, I have everything I could ever buy. I spent a fortune to have you, and I could do whatever I want with you. But he was like, the only thing that I can't buy is love. And so he's like, so what I want from you is just the truth. And I only want to do this with you. I need you to want it too. Like, this is like, and so it's like this really weird, like, he's still forcing himself on her, but he's like asking her to want it. And he's like, that's all I really need from you, is I need like true, real, like desire from you. And so then they like kiss, and then like lobotomy. So then that's when you come back, and then he does the lobotomy, and then he's like, did you see the way that she was looking at me? Like, it looked like she like wanted me to do it. And he kind of has like a little like weird freaked out moment where he was like, did she like want that? She wanted a lobotomy? So then like that doesn't really make sense in the version without him doing that whole monologue, where it's like, because in the theatrical cut, she gets captured, lobotomy. And then he's like, she wanted me to give her a lobotomy. Where it's like, no, she did not want that. She wanted to escape and get out of there. But in this extended cut, he's like begging her to want it and to need it. And she's like slowly kind of giving into it. And then it happens. Because I think she accepts that she had to do this. That was the last piece that she had to give. So she like wanted to do it so Sweet Pea could escape, I'm thinking.
No, I think that's so right and appropriate. It's funny because I was reading, apparently this high roller baby girl was supposed to be like an ongoing love interest theme throughout the film.
Yeah.
But like, so he would come and visit her every so often.
Okay.
But, and like in the asylum, it was him like checking up on her, not necessarily
prepping her for the procedure or something.
Exactly.
See, that is in the unreleased director's cut. Give it to us. Zack, I know you're a fan of the podcast. Zack Snyder, please release it.
Yeah, we want it now. But that's, to me, that's, again, I sort of get why they decide not to go with the whole like love interest scene.
Yeah,
like,
love. It's just more like that. I feel like these teenage boys are like, God, don't care.
But the scene, at least, like where he's having, again, like it's so weird why they decided to cut that out. Because, and again, like I assume that this is the case, but none of these scenes that they cut out would have made the film rated R.
I think that this scene was kind of, it felt the most like to me. So I think that probably would have maybe pushed it over the edge a little bit. Cause like, I don't know. He's like this really big guy and she's just this teeny tiny little baby doll. Where like at this point, this is where in the movie I was like, wait, how old is she? Like I shouldn't be watching this. Like this is not okay. This is not okay. Like it made me feel like really, really uncomfortable. And he's like trying to like take advantage of her. There's this weird like power dynamic of him being this like rich guy and she is kind of like falling for it. And then at the end, she's like, oh wait, I am the last thing that I needed to give. I am the last item. So I have to do this and I want to do this. But then that's also like, I don't know, like kind of a weird, like fucked up thing that she had to like give away her virginity, give away her brain, give away her like power to choose. In a way, I don't know.
No, I think it is like I'm going both ways because I think it makes more sense, but I totally get where you're coming from. Where again, this is being more marketed towards like teenage boys to come and see
an action movie
with hot girls. And I mean, the last thing that we wanted to be showing is like borderline.
It's like, ooh, this is weird. So,
well, one thing I also wanted to discuss with you, what is your thoughts on actually making the wise man like a real character rather than keeping it a figment?
Yeah, I mean, it's a way that like, I don't know, it's like blurs the lines of what is real, what is fake. How the hell was he talking to these girls and now he's a bus driver? Like, I don't know. He is just like the all-encompassing, just like, I don't know. He's like God or something. I don't even know. I like that he is there in the end. And also throughout the movie, he says so many weird, like little quotes, like, and they get crazier and crazier and crazier where he's like, oh, and don't forget, like, blah, 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 blah. In the end, he's like, don't like write a check with your mouth that you can't pay for with your ass or something. And it's like, what? Like they get crazier and crazier and crazier throughout the end. But then at the end, he's like, he's just a bus driver. Like, but I like that he got brought back and he helps Sweet Pea because she's about to get like interrogated by these police officers. I'm assuming that they're looking for an escaped girl from this insane asylum in the town. But then the bus driver, this wise man, is like, no, she's been with me the whole time. She just got off to use the restroom. Like, she's okay. So, like, I like that he saved her. There is also another, like, weird thing. Or do you have more thoughts on that?
Well, I have a weird theory. And again, like, I have no proof, but it's almost like my own headcanon.
Yeah.
We never hear about what happened to Baby Doll's father.
Right.
Like, we only know that about the mother. So for me, like, I'm in my head imagining that that's actually her father and they either divorced or, like, it was, like, she had him out of wedlock or something, and he's only a lowly bus driver, and he's doing everything he can to help his daughter who's about to get lobotomized.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, okay, I'll help her with her friend, sort of thing. But again, like, that's just my own headcanon. Right. There's nothing to back that up.
I mean, form your own opinion. Why the hell not? Yeah, why the hell not? That's her dad.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's this weird moment that I also don't know what the significance of this is at all, or if there is any significance. But way back in our like Nazi Germany fight scene, Sweet Pea and this soldier have this like weird prolonged eye contact. I don't know if you recall, but Rocket goes down and like lifts the helmet off of this like young boy, and he like looks up at her, and then he looks at Sweet Pea, and they sit there and they stare at each other for like a decent amount of time. And then they move on and they like keep fighting. And now at the very end, she's getting on the bus, and the boy who's getting on the bus in front of her turns around, and it's the same boy. And he like looks at her and they like share a glance, and she's like I've seen you before, like I know you. She doesn't say anything. It's just another like weird glance. And then he gets on the bus, and then the police come in and start like talking to her again. I don't know why this happens. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if like I don't know if you've even noticed that or clocked that.
See,
But
I didn't even clock that. But
yeah,
now that you say that, like, and again, this may not be the again, this doesn't have a happy ending. But
right.
for me, this almost tells like, what if Sweet Pea was actually the insane one the entire time, and it wasn't Rocket?
Yeah.
And like she was in there because she's
Kind of crazy. Yeah.
kind of crazy.
So yeah, I don't no clue what that could.
Again, like I almost love that because we can just go over here and like fill in the blanks
Yeah.
because it makes it's so weird that they're calling back from like the first vision that Sweet Pea is a part of,
Yeah.
rather than
Now we're in like actual real life reality,
Mhm.
and the same person is there. I guess the bus driver was also technically there. The wise
True.
man was there, and the soldier were there. So I'm
Mhm.
like, were they ever in the asylum? Did they work there? Does it matter? Is it a figment of her imagination? Did she actually get out? Or is she still just imagining that she escaped, maybe? Like, I don't know. Maybe that was like nods to this not actually being real. Maybe her and Sweet Pea are actually the same person and got lobotomized, and that this is her now, like in her happy state where she doesn't have to worry about anything. She escaped. She's wearing her like white dress that she found wherever the hell she found that. Like,
It's
I
funny
don't
you
know.
say that because like technically she gets lobotomized at the very
Right.
beginning of the movie.
Right.
So technically everything that we
Yeah.
just experienced could be a figment. Like
Yeah.
we don't meet anybody. We don't like
Mm-mm.
legitimately. It's like 5 minutes into the movie, and then like
Bing!
right when they're
Yeah.
about to go in, then
So yeah, I don't know. It's another weird thing that don't know why that would be in there. It's just like gonna add another like weird layer that this doesn't make any sense at all. But
well, I mean, this movie is so weird, but everything that's weird about it, I absolutely love, and I
same.
really do not understand why it just did not translate so well. Because I mean, one of my favorite movies in high school, and this might be more telling, was Pacific Rim. I loved that
I
movie.
almost rewatched Pacific Rim like last night.
It's so good. I mean, the acting's not that great, but
Yeah.
it's just giant robots, and,
Yeah.
and it has
It's like two people like have to like link up their brains into it, right? And then they like can pilot these giant robots.
yeah.
What are they fighting?
They're fighting essentially space kaiju that are coming through the ocean, like
Okay,
from
fab.
another.
Okay.
What have you seen the anime Evangelion?
Of course, it's like one of my favorites.
Yes. It's I feel like it's the American version
Really?
of
Yeah.
even without like
all these like giant kaiju come and they gotta kill them with. Oh yeah, that is totally. Yeah, that is yes, 100%. I didn't even realize that.
But instead of kids, they have to be people that are, which I do love the whole like coinciding together to be able to operate it. But I'm about to finish up Evangelion right now, so it's been a trip watching that.
One of my favorites. You're watching like the series?
Yes.
And you haven't finished it yet?
I've got 2 episodes left.
Oh my god. Oh my god. The last 2 episodes. Holy shit, you are in for the craziest ride. You know that there's a movie that came out after the series.
I'm planning on watching it right after I finish the series.
Perfect. End of Evangelion is my favorite piece of like media that has ever been released.
Oh, really?
I am a huge fan. I've got like, it's insane. What happens in these last 2 episodes is so crazy. I don't want to spoil anything. If you know, you know, like it's so crazy. And then the movie is like so good.
Because it's, from what I understand, it's not that they tie together. It's almost like they're 2 separate timelines. Is that correct? Or
yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but the movie is basically like just a different ending. Yeah. This is the original ending that they came out with, and then the movie is like most like a really quick recap of the series, and then just like an alternate ending.
Okay.
Which this alternate ending is it's so good. I can't wait for you to watch it.
Is it better or worse? Which one do you prefer? If you had to only keep one.
I'm keeping the movie. The movie is like my favorite thing in the entire world.
Okay.
Literally. The movie is End of Evangelion is amazing. But not being right at the last 2 episodes, because the last 2 episodes, oh my god. I'm so jealous that you get to experience this for the first time.
That's how I feel when people say they're starting to watch Attack on Titan. So I'm like,
I just recently finished Attack on Titan.
oh really?
Mwah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Well,
Art.
well, I mean, it's not an episode of Big Flying Lizards if I don't talk about Attack on Titan at least once. Is there anything else you want to talk about the movie? Any final thoughts on the film?
Love the film. Love the soundtrack.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
the cast. The effects are insane. The acting is super mediocre, but I love this movie. I do really want to see the director's cut.
Well,
I think it was maybe released on YouTube like momentarily, but then I think it was like scrubbed from the internet. So I don't know what happened in there, but I want to know.
So, and you might disagree, but I really think the only two characters that really lacked in acting, but they were great in choreographing, was Baby Doll and Sweet Pea. Like their acting, their lines felt a little flat, but when they were in their action scenes, like they were doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I feel like gave their lines pretty well.
I mean, Madame Gorski with that Polish accent and like her like walking stick, it's just like, I mean, she did what was asked of her, but I just think like the whole idea of it is insane. And like Oscar Isaac like giving musical theater is like insane to me. I think that's more where I'm saying like the acting is like, I don't know. I'm like, Zack, you had these people do some crazy stuff. Vanessa Hudgens with a machine gun is just like insane to me. Like that's more what I'm thinking. Like I don't think they like did a bad job at acting, but like
it's just weird.
It's just so weird. I love it.
I of all his films, I think this is the film I would want to have a conversation with Zack Snyder about.
Yeah,
like
same.
I don't think I want to really ask him anything about 300. I don't really want to ask him about any of the new like DC movies.
Man of Steel. He did like Justice League.
He did the Justice League. I know he did Justice League over there.
Man of Steel.
Yes.
And then he did like Ben Affleck's Batman, right?
I think
and
so.
Like Superman versus Batman. He did those movies.
I believe so.
I haven't seen any of those. What about Watchmen? Have you seen Watchmen?
I've heard Watchmen's really good. I
think Watchmen is pretty good. I think like Sucker Punch is my favorite. I think Watchmen is maybe my second favorite.
I'll have to go check out Watchmen after that. But Lady Façade, we only have one thing left for the podcast, and that's the dragon grade.
Let's grade it.
Each week, we do a dragon grade, grading our dragon in 5 topics. That's design, special effect, character, film, and X factor. We grade them on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being abysmal, 10 being incredible, and 5 being okay. Now, Façade, I would love to know, on a scale of 0 to 10, what would you grade this dragon in design?
I think I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right.
Yes.
Let's hear it. What's your reasoning?
I think it's like a pretty basic dragon. I don't think there's anything design wise that's like super like, I don't know, out of the ordinary. Like same with how we were talking about this entire scene is kind of like on the nose. I think the dragon is pretty on the nose. So I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I actually was planning on giving it a 7 as well. And it's very similar in the sense of like, I do enjoy it. It was giving a lot of similarities to like House of the dragons. Yeah. I've really, like, surprising. I've really gone into the different types of dragons and seen like there's the worm where a dragon has no wings, no legs. Yeah. There's the European dragon, which has the 4 legs and the wings. Yeah. This is the wyvern look that you might say, where it's just the wings and then the 2 legs, which it
doesn't have arms. It's like claws are the wings, or its arms are the wings, right?
Well, they have claws on the wings there where they're able to still like scratch, but it's primarily able to fly with their wings. I personally prefer the European with the 4 legs and the wings, but I still do really like the wyvern look, and I think it really complemented it. And I also loved like how much, because we especially got a really close look when she like stabbed the dragon through the head. We got a close look of like how armored the dragon's head is, and just I loved how like the red eyes were there, and it was almost like an orange red, almost like lava. But so yeah, I think I'd give it a 7. I think that translates to very good. I wouldn't say it's great, but I think very good is
it's a classic. It's like a classic dragon.
Exactly.
Good old classic dragon. Nothing wrong with that.
So special effects.
Special effects. I mean, special effects in general for this movie are crazy. I think that the special effects on this dragon were pretty good. I'll give it an 8.
An
I
8.
think. Yeah.
Alrighty. So here's my opinion. Like, I think it was decent. I also know, and again, I mentioned this earlier, the
Mhm.
gold standard for me at the time is like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like,
Okay.
back then, that was like peak computer animation.
Yeah.
And
Davy Jones. Like, that's
exactly
what we're thinking of. Yeah.
which that came out before this movie.
Insane. Nothing has been better. That's actually so true. Yeah.
And so to me, again, like, it takes money to make it look better, so I'm not going to
Okay.
fault that too much. But I also think that it could look a little less computer-y, if that
Right.
makes sense. So I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Okay.
Which is right between good and very good, which
Okay.
to me I think is appropriate. But again, I'm not
Shit,
faulting you.
Maybe I overshot.
Hey, there's no. Take your answers and be confident.
Okay.
Just kidding. What,
I'm thinking for the time, I think with all the other effects in the movie, I wasn't like turned off by any of them.
for sure.
Granted, but if our high standard even happened before that, then yeah, I think you picked a better answer, but I'm sticking with an 8.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Now, character. I know this one's very unique, and typically we do have to dive a little deep with this,
Okay.
but based off of the character or how the dragon interacted with the main characters, what are
Mhm.
you giving it on a scale of 0 to 10?
Okay, character-wise, our dragon is obviously a mother, and we get like a little bit of that. So then we have like angry mama dragon. There's like a little bit of story there. Granted, this scene with the dragon is only what,
4 minutes tops.
4 minutes long. Like, there's not a ton of screen time that we get of dragon, but I do think we have a decent amount of character building with the dragon in those 4 minutes that we get. I feel like I'm maybe going to give it another 7.
7? I think that's appropriate, because we do get some character from it. It is a mother, and it's clearly very angry that it's like baby got killed.
Daughter.
Yeah. And not only that, but we're seeing like it's beelining for baby girl the entire time until like the plane comes and starts shooting at her. Like, well, shit, I've got to go. Like,
but then easily so like gets distracted like so quickly when like it sees our like main character again and like forgets about the airplane and goes straight for it. So she's gunning for baby doll. Like, she's trying to kill this bitch.
Yeah, like, and we see that, and for the 4 minutes we definitely do get a sense of it's not a mindless beast. Like, it has a personality. And I've said on the show before, I prefer a dragon that can talk. I think it gives it a lot, like, it makes the character more meaningful. But I also like firmly believe it's possible to have a dragon that does not communicate, like Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon.
Right, ton of character,
amazing character, and it doesn't say a single word. Now, this character I don't think would necessarily be Toothless in any world,
right?
But I also do think that we got a decent amount for the 4 minutes. I'm gonna give it a 6, which again is gonna be saying good.
Okay.
Now, Façade.
Wait, where's our 1 to 10 sitting?
So
bad.
0 is abysmal.
Okay.
1 is terrible. 2 is very bad. 3 is bad. 4 is mediocre.
Okay.
5 is okay. 6 is good. 7's very good. 8 is great. 9's superb, and 10's incredible.
Okay.
Got it. Because this might be short-sighted of us, but there's no such thing as perfection, so we can't make.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just sitting right here.
Exactly. There's not a movie out yet.
Okay, right.
Speaking of which, what would you give this film on a scale?
The film
itself,
from 1 to 10. I think it checks off all of my boxes. I think it's campy. I think it's intense. I think it's sexy. I think it's dark and gritty, but also like fun and hot. I'm going to give it like maybe an 8.5.
An 8.5?
Yeah.
That is.
I love this movie.
Here's the thing. It's a good movie. And a lot of these movies that I watch, I come out of it saying, I'm not going to watch this again. I'm never going to see this film.
It's like a comfort film for me. I love this one.
With this, I can see myself watching it again. I think that this is not only just a good film, but also my friends are very much anime nerds. I feel confident I could turn this on at any party and this would be
they'd be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. So this is definitely something that I would watch again. I'm going to give it a 7. Again, like a little bit lower, but at the same time, I think it's very good. Like, I really enjoy it. Now, this does leave us with one last subject, X factor for the dragon.
Okay.
So this is necessarily what made this dragon stand out. Like, again, we only got about 4 minutes of it, but what did you like? This is also a chance if you want to give it extra credit points or take away points, whatever you want to necessarily give. Like, the floor is yours. What is the X factor?
I mean, the X factor to me, and I did mention it earlier, is obviously the 2 crystals in there of like, that's how the fire is generated. I think that is so cool. Like, I haven't seen that before in another dragon. I feel like it like kind of weirdly makes sense. It is weird that the dragon like doesn't bleed when they slit the throat, but then them like reaching in and grabbing these like crystals that are kind of like attached to like veins or something and smacking them together. Like, I mean, that's how you like start a fire, with like 2 little rocks. So these like magical crystals that create like the most perfect, beautiful flame. I love that. And I do think that the fire, like, animation, or I guess like the way that the fire comes out of the dragon's mouth, I liked a lot as well. Like when they're actually in the castle and the mom like does the first like big thing of fire, I'm like, they're fucking dead. There's no way they survived that. And then they come out of the castle with like their hair like perfectly done and like not a singe on them, which so camp, love it. But like the fire, I was like, they're dead. That dragon just killed them. So, but I love the like fire aspect of it and the lore that they built in that way. And I think it got a lot of points for me. I'm so sorry, but I think it was, I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 for X Factor, I think.
I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I also really did love the crystals, and that was something that was big for me, because what I love it when you get creative with dragons, because let's be real, like if you exclude the whole fire breathing portion, a dragon is not that far-fetched of an idea for like a prehistoric creature. Like it could very easily
big lizard.
Exactly. It's a big dinosaur. Like not that crazy. So finding ways to like make it make sense to breathe fire has always been sort of important. And I've seen different variations where like a dragon's tongue is metal and it like causes, it's the same sort of idea where it's like flint in its mouth, but I like the idea of it being in its throat with like specifically fire crystals. And I also do just like, again, it's more with the design, but I love that it had just multiple layers of scales to make it look it looked fierce. And yeah, I think that it's a very unique dragon. I think I'm going to give it an 8 again. 8 is great, which that does come out to the dragon score for the movie Sucker Punch comes out to a 7.4, which is between very good and great, which, you know, I think is very appropriate.
I think that's appropriate as well. I think that's very appropriate.
Well, Lady Façade, we are closing that chapter on Sucker Punch. Thank you so much for coming. Where can people find you?
Oh my God. Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Love to be here. Love to talk about psychotic things. You can find me on social media, all social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of it at Lady Façade. If you are in Salt Lake City and want to see me in person, you can come to shows here at Edison House on Wednesdays. I also do shows at every gay bar in the city. So follow me on Instagram, come to a gay bar and watch me like do a back handspring and breathe fire at the same time.
And she does a phenomenal job doing that. Again, thank you, Lady Façade, for coming on.
Thank you.
Everybody go give her a follow and like, share, subscribe, the whole shebang. And have a great rest of your night, y'all.
Bye.
That's all for this week's Dragon Lore. Takes cold and hot, spread shore to shore. Enjoyed yourself? Please join the squad. Follow on social media at Big Liz Pod. And one quick reminder before you go, to rate, review, and share the show. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. See you next week, same time, same spot.